So we've got now to the 15th of February for the first 12.2 million people being.
I think so. Jeffrey has no having problems connecting, of course.
Yes, I'm sorry, Chair. If you've covered it, don't worry.
Okay.
So it was some of the other.
Okay, so the Health Secretary had said by the autumn, Matt Hancock had said by the autumn, we would have hoped to be able to offer everybody in the country a vaccine who would want one.
That's very helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
Richard Holden, MP.
Thank you very much indeed, Chair. And one of the things that's concerning my constituents, and I'm sure in other parts of the country, is this localised data. Will we be getting localised breakdowns of data onto how many vaccines are going out to Sam?
Yes, we will.
When?
Well, and how localised will they be? Will it be on CCG basis, county basis, constituency basis? Can you tell us any more?
Sure. So we will do a regional split. We will do a split by the STP, ICS areas, and then we're aiming to do a split at local authority level as well, if we're able to do that from the data. Indeed, aiming to do that within the next week or 10 days, so people can see how their own uptake is going. And if I might just say, Richard, it underlines the important role that local authorities and indeed directors of public health are going to have in the programme, not in calling people in, because this is an invite programme, so we can do it on a phased basis, but in helping ensure that when people do get that invitation, we see good uptake, including in groups who might traditionally have had a lower vaccine willingness or uptake.
I understand that. And so we've got the 13 million in the first wave up to the middle of February, and then 17 million in the second wave, roughly, nationwide. Are we expecting the speed of the second? You mentioned 2 sprints. Are we expecting the speed of the second to be quicker than the first because we'll have higher production by that point of the vaccine?
Our aim is sort of, as those 3 phases unfold, to be able to sort of each month vaccinate in line with the vaccines we've got that month. So, as we may come on to discuss, the fantastic work that's been done to procure vaccine means we should have a lot more by spring than we have now, and we'll have more in the summer than we have in the spring. So yes, we would expect the vaccination rate to increase as supply increases, and in turn, therefore, to be using many more partners for doing that. So, retail pharmacists are really coming to their own when we've got all of this vaccine supply that we can put in their hands.
Okay, so we can expect those national breakdowns from today of the vaccines, and then within the next week to 10 days, that localised data that we asked for, just to be clear on that point.
Correct.
Great.
Correct.
Chair, sorry, did you want me to move to allow Sir Richard, Sir Simon, to change his speaker?
Simon, the point that he needs to answer next, because I think, Sir Simon, we've got some problems with your sound, which we're doing some chat behind the scenes.
Right. Sorry, Chair. Just quickly, Sir Simon, on the treatment, and we've seen a huge updates in the treatment recently. I've had some questions locally about the use of vitamin C and vitamin D. Alongside the other treatments, is that something that you're rolling out as well now? I believe that it was piloted at Newcastle Hospital.
Yeah, let me get you a specific note, Mr. Holden, on the vitamin D question, because that has periodically cropped up. There are trials underway on it. Obviously, the new news this past week on treatments has been the repurposing of 2 rheumatoid arthritis drugs that have cut the relative risk of death in intensive care by 24%, and there's also shortened the intensive care length.
So Simon, there's a problem with your sound, so if you could check, there's a back channel trying to contact you about that.
Okay, shall I dial off and dial back in? Is that the...
We'd rather discuss it on live air, but if you could just keep an eye on the map track. We're going to drop you off for a moment, and I'm going back to Mr. Richard Holden.
Yes, so if I could ask Ms. Bingham, please, just around, this is just quickly, there's been a lot of questions in the press around the EU and whether we were right to be part of that vaccine programme. I was just wondering, do we now know it was the right decision to definitely not be part of the EU programme? How quickly are we in advance compared to that EU programme? Where will we be in comparison?
So we talked about it in our report, actually, that's published in December. And the conditions that the EU set to allow us to participate were conditions we felt were not attractive, so that we were not unable to join any decision making on which vaccines. We had to abandon the negotiations we either had underway or were had concluded with AZ. And we also were not able to talk to future potential vaccine companies that they may not be talking to currently but would do in the future. So we felt the conditions were too tight and that we would actually be able to act more quickly if we did it independently. Equally, we've remained very close and supportive and continued discussions throughout to help them with their decision making and anything else that we could do. So we just thought it was a better approach for us, and I think in hindsight that was the right decision because we were able to secure the vaccines quicker and we were able to start vaccinating more quickly.
Indeed, and so on that terms of speed then, how much quicker do you think it's going to be looking at the UK is going to get that rollout, particularly for those vulnerable groups, compared to our friends in the EU?
So part of the reason for acting quickly was so that we could give the NHS teams time to prepare, because of course we didn't know which of any of these vaccines were going to work, and we did know that the mRNA vaccines have a highly complex, challenging supply chain with the short stability and minus 70-degree cold chain. So the longer the teams have to prepare, the quicker they'll be able to roll out when the vaccine's available, and I think that's played out. And so if you look at the stats, you can see what's happened in France and Germany and Netherlands, and I think our team has done phenomenally well, and the feedback I get from the mRNA companies is that they're highly organised, incredibly cooperative and supportive, and have formed an incredibly strong team. So I would absolutely like to call out my thanks for the amazing work done by Emily and the team.
Well, we'll come to that a little later on. So that's
there's just one final question on that. So would you say, Ms. Bingham, we're a couple of months ahead of our European counterparts on this rollout programme then, because we took a different approach?
Probably. I don't have I'm not privy to the details now, but so I read the headlines like you do, but I do know we've certainly had plenty more time to prepare for it, and therefore we should be doing it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, and we all know that for every 250 injections, that's really particularly the elderly age group is really helping protect life. Coming to the main.
Move on to the main session now. So so this is really using the NEA report. Thank you to them as a launchpad for our work, but obviously we're going to go a bit further as well. So I'm going to ask Richard Holden to take the floor once again. Mr. Holden and Richard Holden.
Thank you very much, Chair. So we're just now going to drill down a bit, Ms. Bingham, into the taxpayers' interest element of this, because there's a huge amount of taxpayers' money has been spent here. Looking at about 2.9 billion on the vaccines themselves, and then a much larger amount actually on the vaccine rollout programme. Just wanting to ask, first of all, really, we started obviously buying vaccines before knowing whether they were safe and effective. So how on earth did you manage to decide which contracts you would go for and which would provide best value for money?
Thank you. So the starting point was to assemble a team of experts. So as I've said, I'm a therapeutic expert, not a vaccine expert. The distinction is whether people actually have a disease or whether they're healthy. In case of vaccines, we are vaccinating healthy people. So I pulled together a team of people who are both clinical, preclinical, regulatory and manufacturing experts